Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are changing a sketch into a finished painting using Procreate. I personally have an iPad and this is my process. So I get the sketch from my sketchbook and just create cleaner line art than what I normally have. And then I just make a base gray color, which is more of a mid-tone. As you can see here, I'm just adding some highlights. I normally do this on another layer, which is set to add or screen. So just go to your settings and change the type of layer that you're working on to an add or screen. That normally makes the layers brighter and it just makes you see everything on top of your previous layer a bit brighter than everything else underneath it. And I use this just to sculpt the face and show where the lights are compared to the darks. I like this method because, I don't know, I just really enjoy sculpting the face using shadows, which I'm doing at this point. I'm just filling in my darks. I have changed my method of doing this recently. I normally start with the shadow, then the light now, but this is an older painting and I figured I might as well still show it to you guys. At this point, I'm really just sculpting in a few little dark areas and trying to see what works and what doesn't. My shadows are normally on a darken layer, which is set to multiply, and yeah, I mostly use my multiply layer, and I wear glasses, of course, so occasionally I do change and remove the background just to help me see better and be able to see the contrast. At this point, yeah, we're still sculpting. We're still sculpting and just getting in all those tiny little details. I really enjoy using Procreate and it's a super fun application. The brushes I'm using here are inbuilt brushes. They are all in the App Store already, and I normally just play around with them each time. I normally use different ones, but I tend to gravitate towards the airbrush when I want to make a softer looking texture, and I gravitate a lot to the touch-ups brush, which is really different. I don't know, I really like the touch-ups brush because it allows me to blend and it still gives the painting a bit of a texture in my blending. This is the reference that I used, and it's just a picture that I found on Pinterest. I made sure to leave the name of the person who posted the picture in the cropped version. That way at least I can still credit them when I finally upload this. So this is a picture by Gabriella on Pinterest. Has a lot of great reference shots and I recommend you follow that board. Pinterest has really great references and I always go there, especially when I'm trying to push myself and try something new. This painting was originally supposed to look completely different, which you're going to see here. I started playing around with the light settings on the layers. At this point, I don't know what I was going for here. Evil Priestess, I don't know. So this was my original idea for it, with the darkened upper face, and I quickly changed my mind and it just, I don't know, it wasn't working out. I liked the concept, but I wasn't feeling it on this particular day, so I got rid of it and I continued playing with the lighting settings, which at this point were pretty simple. I still went right back to my original ones, which were the multiply and the screen for the lights and the shadows respectively. So at this point, I really just started doing the eyes and working on some of the smaller details in the hair and just starting to build on my bigger colors. I forgot to mention that after I do finish sculpting my lights and my shadows, I put in another layer just above them, and this layer is where I pretty much do my main coloring. This is where I put the main undertones for the skin and get the textures really in the skin. I add a bit of pinks, especially in blush around the cheeks, and I play around with a lot of the colors just to make sure that her skin is a bit flushed out, because in the reference she is pretty pale and I didn't want her to look too pale for what I was trying to do. At this point, I think I was going for a really ethereal type of look, and being too pale didn't really go with that. So I started just adding a bit more warmth to her face, just giving her some blood underneath her skin, because of course we are humans. Our undertones come from the blood that's underneath our skin, literally. And I'm just adding some more details to the hair to give her that more weathered look, because I'm later on going to add some wings which give her that extra oomph in my opinion. But yeah, I was just trying to give her hair a bit more depth and allow for it to look more airy, like she's going through something and the wind is blowing through her hair. On a separate layer, I start to add even more highlights and I start building a bit more contrast. In this layer, I like to add a bit of color. So in this case, I added some hints of blue just to make it a bit more contrasting, because I'm going to add orange to the wings. And when you add a warm color and a cool color, it gives this really interesting contrast. There's one YouTuber, his name is Muhammad Agbadi. I think I'm saying that right, I don't know. But he has some really great videos on lighting and coloring. He's really, really amazing. He's fantastic in my opinion. So yeah, make sure to look into that account and just see what you can learn out of those images that he puts out. So at this point, I had just started sketching out the wings just to see what I wanted to get out of them, and I did look at other references of bird wings. So this is just me trying to figure out how they would look on the human anatomy without making them too overbearing. Did a few shadows just to make sure that the detail in the wings is more on the abstract side. I tried to make sure that the wings looked as abstract as possible while still giving them enough detail. There's a book on this where it basically talks about the illusion of detail, where you don't really put every little stroke and make every little tiny thing show, but you just, add bit by bit, and it really gives this depth into your painting, because I wanted the main focus to be the figure and not the wings. I wanted the wings to just be an accessory more so, as opposed to the main focus of the painting. Here you see me just adding a bit more detail to the wings, nothing too special, just making sure that you can see the difference in the feathers, and so you can know that this is where one feather starts and where the other ends, without making it too crowded, I'd say. So I'm just making sure that you can see the definition between the ribs of the wing. This is basically the part where there's a main bone that goes through that part of the wing, and I'm just trying to define that, and also just layering the wings and giving myself more of a outline to know how to shade this, so that I know where the shadows will fall underneath each layer of wings, because wings are stacked on each other as opposed to just lying flat. They're more stacked underneath each other. I really just went in and added a few highlights here and there, and just started building more of that contrast between the shadows and the lights. I started playing around with her face for no reason, which I immediately changed my mind on, as will probably be a regular occurrence. But I played around with that and started really just focusing on the detail on the wings, just to make sure that I had the exact contrast that I wanted, and just to give the wings a nice look that fit in with my entire piece altogether. After I had built up quite a bit of contrast, I started, adding a bit more detail to the wings just to give them that weathered look. Again, I keep on saying weathered look. But yeah, I mean, birds' wings aren't one singular color. Some of them have this slight spotting to them. Some of them are just plain white, which is really rare, maybe with doves or something. But the average bird, their wings have some slight patterns to them, and I was trying to get that look at this point, but I didn't want to overdo it because, again, the wings were not the main focus of this painting. So this is just me trying to render everything just so it looks, uniform and flows as best as possible together. And yeah, that's where we are right now. After I was done with everything, I basically put in a background just to separate her from the background and just give a bit of the illusion of a light source. And yeah, that was basically it. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and be back soon. Don't forget to like and leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe because I am a new channel and I'd like to grow. But thank you so much for watching, and be back soon. Bye.